I'm literally having like an epiphany just now about like where society is heading. Like, and it's not just me. I know probably other people are talking about it, but like right now in this moment of time, like I very clearly can see the future for, let's just say, men and women, and as far as how society is going to go, and the separation between, like, right now, in my opinion, we're already at a situation where, although we've always had the elites and different classes, I think it's becoming so much more. Um, it's changed in that if you don't have these certain tools, i.e., support with a good family, whether it's monetarily or with like standards and emotional support, where traditionally that was like, of course, that's an advantage, right? But now with the way things are going and the way we view everything as like subjective, it creates such a ex- exponential um ramping up of the haves and have nots. Example being, like, just right now, I'll talk present and then I'll go into 5 to 10 years from now. Right now, our issue is, the first thing I think of is people, right when 2020 happened, right? So we print 30% of our of the money we've ever printed ever, something like that, right? And the people that had equities or real estate or both, and if you're really in a good place, you had Bitcoin too before that, or you bought it when it was, at some point during, the last 5 years, you basically set yourself up for a nest egg, because now we have a system where now the money printer is only going to become, because our our fiat is insolvent. I'm not going to go too into this because for the sake of this video, just being about haves and have nots now in the present and the next 5 to 10 years. Um, but so I'll touch on it that we are insolvent. So if you had the money and you're closest to the money printer, obviously you can buy the assets earlier. Therefore, you buy them before the prices go up, and then you have an advantage. It's really just that simple. So that being the most recent and best example recently of like not best necessarily, but first example I think of for um, the haves and have-nots, and essentially an unfair system um, that previously wasn't as unfair. So um, again, the other side of that is anybody who didn't have these assets and they're now working for a dollar that's increasingly being devalued in a system that is insolvent. So it's basically a charade and a confidence game and on a timer. And so, and also a distraction. So being the wage slave, the working person, it's creating less time to be able to be able to be able to break out of the matrix, to be able to see what's happening and understand. And that's always been the case. There's always been a certain psychology about money and blah 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 blah. Okay, but that's one example. And the second example I have for currently where we're at is um it's like actually a good segue and distractions, right? So you're either creating the content, that's another layer, is like you're creating the content or you're the consumer of the content. And then it's like now it seems like everything's a mush mosh. It's like anything that's on a subject on YouTube, anything we're talking about is so subjective, and so even money and entertainment and the mishmash of finance, entertainment, and art. It's a mishmash. Where's the line between entertainment and art now? And even finance, we throw that in there. It's just become a mishmash. And so you're either the consumer or the creator of this little fucking mishmash. I just came up with that word. I don't know what that means. Um, so that again, you're distracted. The dopamine, these dopamine little things in society that are keeping people like almost farmed. It's really is it really, the Matrix is the best describer. It's insane. It's great. And so that's where we're here right now, right? And it's pretty rough. And Well, we can put, and I'll put one more topic in there. With those topics, we have um, the gender wars, right? So there's two features in men and women. So with women, hypergamy, right? It's embedded. It's a feature, not a bug. It's is linked to women as anything you can name. Totally natural, totally healthy. But now we have a hijacked. We have hypergamy on steroids, i.e., through the social media, and a lot of that's fallen off. A lot of like it's almost like women at the top of that of their social media game have kind of sucked up a lot of the energy, and now they're where they are. And a lot of these other women, I don't know if anyone else has seen this, but there's a lot of previous the last 5 years, there's been like a lot of maybe it's just because it's my age too, but a lot of these women have stopped you know uh trying to how do you say min max their hypergamy, i.e., through the social media. They kind of have accepted more of a local hypergamy and not trying to be like that queen bee of hypergamy. And that's probably just maybe it might may become like a new normal. So that's one imperative. And then on the male side, the um, our 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 feature is protection and providing and having meaning, right, and having like a mission, and that's never been more of a an issue. Um Let me back up actually. Let me scratch that off of men. It's a better comparison to talk about with men and our biology in relation to what I just said about women. Our our um our feature, which is um, and this is somehow where it gets controversial, which is just silly, and we're past the point of care. We should be past the point of caring about how we're perceived because it's truth time. And um, having said that, the fact that men at a biological level don't like women that have been with lots of men, um, it's it's just how we're wired for obvious reasons. We don't want to be in a situation where we're raising another man's child. It goes against our biology, as the same way women want to get the best they can, men want to obviously rear and raise their own genetics. And to do that at a consistent level, it's necessary that we evolve to have a more of a not jealous, but we have a imperative to want purity um, for that reason. So those are what we're dealing with right now. Those three things, I think. Yeah, it's monetary, and then I was talking about, oh, I guess those two. So uh, that's current. And so if we can kind of frame that in our minds right now we're in this like it's like things are fucked up, right? And this is going to be kind of a negative video, but it's also positive in that I think it could be helpful, and that getting ahead of it and understanding that if this is true, what I'm about to say, like it's uh it's more realist than negative. And because my previous video was about like the pendulum swinging back, and this video is kind of like going against that, because I think although it can be swinging back, I that's not the full story. This is actually more of how I feel. I think that a more accurate version, now, time goes on, I think I have a better understanding. In 5 to 10 years, so what we're looking at is that's only going to get crazier. Right now, if it's, women are looking at the top 10%, it's going to be, even less women um, being in relationships, and they're going to be looking at the top 5 to 1% of men. And we're going to go back to a society where it's like the kings and queens thing. It's gonna be like Genghis Khan type shit. And the other men are gonna be in the metaverse and uh, in a fantasy world to get their needs met because as humans we still have our needs. And as society and AI and everything takes over, um, that's going to be one aspect, right? We're just talking about again. The point of this video is to talk about the haves and have-nots and how it's gonna work out, because I think UBI is gonna be enslavement essentially, and it, more and more people are gonna need it, and it's gonna keep people on the teat and in our masks, our little AI masks, our little fantasy world. It's gonna keep us stable, um, which is pretty dystopian. But I don't see how it could be otherwise. I don't care right now, where it doesn't matter. I don't think there's any stopping it. It's just about making choices of while you can, because I think it'll be harder to make choices in the future. Um, it's going to be a lot harder. Yeah, you're going to be stuck. But no one's going to seem to notice. No one's going to seem to care, because that's pleasure for you. We underestimated our pleasure centers, our dopamine, how this works in our brain, and because it's never happened in human history, where we can actually gamify people's. Yeah, I'm getting a little soapboxy. I should probably stay on topic here. So I want to not try and lose my frame of thought. I really had it really good, and I want to make sure I get it out. We're talking about, yes, more women are gonna go after the same guy, and it's gonna so that's gonna be one end of the side. Like, so maybe half or more men, more than half, no, like vast majority of men, more than 80% of men are gonna be out of the dating pool, whether by choice or by whatever. And in this little metaverse, and that's the social side. That's the men and women side, right? That's the dating market side. The other side is another aspect of what's going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years is with that it's going to be essentially like it's going to be a system in which we God, I'm losing my train of thought. I had it so close. So we're talking a monetary system. We're talking about, oh, exactly, the exponential rate. So like right now, it's like we're kind of going back onto monetary now. So like again, this is under the assumption that you don't have any like assets that are going to appreciate, because you only can really work hard, so hard. And there basically what happened in 2000 was Wall Street made 30% more for doing nothing, no work, and then people in the working class had to work 30% harder just to stay where they were, um, at the same level and lifestyle they were at. So of course that's effed, and it's only going to get worse. So having said that, um, it's going to either you're going to be a position in the workforce where you can keep up, or you will be left behind. Like even lawyers like already are being left behind. There's gonna be so many more jobs that are left behind, and it's not going to be a system in which you even need to go to college or to get a good job. It's like it's gonna be more and more like you are in those positions at the right time, i.e., familial power, basically a nepotism situation. And so, yeah, your choices, like as an average man or even above average, is going to be to do the MGTOW thing and just try to get to a certain level and focus on yourself, and just kind of accept the matrix, which unfortunately is going to be the case it's just going to be the case. And, or it's going to be, or there could be some kind of revolution, but it's just not going to happen, because that's how all you need is the majority to be just satisfied enough to not make a, you know, get together. I'm just happy enough. I don't need to go fight and go do something that might get me hurt or get me exiled. I mean, that time has passed. So, especially the testosterone levels are shit. But you never know. Yeah, it's rough. So yeah, those are your options. Gonna be in the Matrix. I realize I fucking had it. I really had a good way to sum all this up, but more or less, the point of the video is I kind of went against the pendulum idea. It might be swinging back as far as certain ideas, but ultimately technology is going to keep accelerating, and it's going to continue to divide the classes in a way that is like nothing we've ever seen in human history because of the semiconductor that changed everything. And now when we talk about Bitcoin too, that's going to create a lot of a division probably. Honestly, I used to have nothing but virtue and like good to say about Bitcoin. That is the one thing that does worry me is more division. And yeah, um, the acceleration technology, it is going to really, really fuck with us. And as I'm starting to fall apart mentally on this topic, I guess we'll end the video here. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'm not trying to be too like, it doesn't help anyone in the, you know, in this moment in time to be just like negative bomb. I'm really just making this video to, well, it turned into that, but initially making this video was to not make people not feel like they're alone or crazy because, the dating market's effed. Someone like I had multiple girlfriends, even a mistress, and very, very good prospects. Like I basically have seen exact like the highest highs and what is left after the fallout of my own personal stuff. I was one of those guys, and like eventually I'll make a video about what exactly happened when I stopped being a pussy, but um because I definitely have something to say. But anyway, we'll end the video here, guys. You're not alone. I think just about keeping your sanity right now as a guy. Like you let the the gaslighting weak people of society that don't really truly respect and love humanity. I think that's what it comes down to. It doesn't have to be religious, doesn't have to be anything. At the end of the day, the pragmatism and the strength and the common sense and the power of men, why we are men at our best, is um, emotional stability, doing what's right, doing the hard thing, and keeping ourselves strong so we can be strong for others and speak truth. Um, you don't need any validation. You don't need the likes. Know in your heart that you are a good person and will fight for those that you care about. That's what it is. That's the point of being here as a man, and at least that's what I believe. And yeah, I don't know how it could be otherwise. Your conscience knows the truth. You you know when you're in the right path and when things are correct because you know otherwise you're depressed. Depression is your conscious letting you know that something's wrong and your path needs to change. So you do it for you. You get on the right path, move in a good direction, do the hard thing, and you'll feel better. Um, and don't care what anyone else thinks. It's never been harder in my opinion, it's never been harder to do the hard thing because you are so easily ostracized for doing the hard thing, for doing the good thing. And if everyone and everything ostracizes you, but you know who you are, that's all that should matter. because, well, there's a judgment after this, whatever. I can't help but think that, the whole point of this experiment, everything happening, I'm getting so soapboxy. I'm sorry, I'm just spitballing, but it just seems like everything is perfectly balanced in the world and everything happens for a reason. Not that you don't have free will, but I think that free will is life. And I'm gonna get super preachy, but that free will is God, and that's whatever. That's our choices, and our path is divine in some fucking way. It's all connected. And if that is true, and I think it's a powerful notion, like there's these, I don't need any evidence of anything. The proof is in the pudding. The evidence is in the thought. So if you can create an idea that makes something so powerful in your mind, that makes it true. So again, if you believe that you're divine and then your decisions matter in a way that everything is connected, then I think that is the point. And if you believe that and it creates a life of abundance and happiness and love, then that's proof that that's correct. I don't know if that makes any sense, but the mind is unbelievably powerful. And it's not delusional to believe in something greater than yourself, something that creates creates more positive energy and light. Um, yeah. Anyway, got off topic, but stay strong, guys. You're not alone. You're not crazy. Things are effed. They're gonna get more effed, but it's it's all about validating yourself and doing the right thing, and somehow that seems to be all that really matters in the end. How you treat others is the most valuable currency there is. Never forget that. Love you guys. Bye bye.